What is going on, Silver Squad? My name is RJ,
I'm Desiree Geraldine.
And I'm Gerald from G Saw That.
and we are here to break down and talk about Paradise Season 1, starring Sterling K. Brown, which is now streaming on Hulu. Y'all know I'm a sci-fi guy. And so for me to watch a show that's not sci-fi, like it's gotta be good. Because it doesn't really things like that don't really catch my attention if there's no magic or witchcraft in it. But so overall thoughts on sci-fi, overall thoughts on Paradise Season 1.
I've it's been a long time since I've been excited about a show like this, and so my first initial thoughts of this when it ended was that I can't wait until season 2, just automatically.
Yeah, overall, I was nervous. Episode 1 because it was a little slow. But once it got rolling, honestly, after episode 2, man, I was locked in. So overall, it was definitely it had the intrigue, and it had the character building and some craziness. I definitely was enjoying the non-linear storytelling.
Yeah. For me, and I'm glad you forewarned me that the first two would kind of be, a little slow because I
Yeah.
was sitting, I was like, yeah, if Gerald had not warned me that the first two are slow, I probably would have been like, yeah, this is not good. But I think once I locked in and realized that, you got to build stuff, you got to give, characterization of characters and stuff like that. You kind of have to lay out the world that they're living in. I did enjoy the series after the first two episodes. I love, too, I love the murder mystery aspect of it. And I love that I couldn't predict who it was because every time I thought it could be somebody because everyone had the motive, it'd be like another turn. I would suspect somebody else. So I really enjoy like the Knives Out kind of like, I don't know. To me, it reminded me of like Knives Out meets The Recruit meets, I don't know, Nikita. I don't know. It was a lot. It was a lot going on.
Ooh, Nikita's a good choice.
Yeah, espionage.
Yeah, I could see that.
The fun part to me was at I think by episode 4 I stopped predicting because and this is the first show that I can honestly say I had no clue and I wasn't even going to waste any more brain power trying to figure that out because I knew they were doing that good of a job of introducing new characters and not making us forget them to the point where you could keep saying, well, maybe it's this guy, maybe it's this girl, maybe it's this, but they never could pin you down because the story started broadening out so fast that you're like, dang, well, what's really happening? Like every episode felt like that, So I think they did a really, really good job of keeping you off balance.
Yeah, it was kind of giving me How to Get Away with Murder and even the excitement around it. Remember how every week you were waiting for a new episode of How to Get Away with Murder to come on or Scandal. It gave me that excitement again. And it's been a while since we've had like really good TV. And this did for me.
And I think how they, I'm sorry, go ahead, RJ.
You're good.
I say how they were able to take your main character, have him involved with all of these other characters, and he didn't overshadow their importance to any particular situation. Because I was like, man, like, is he gonna have to be in every like scene for it to even make sense?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like he was there, but he was able to play second fiddle. The first two episodes, they didn't do that. It was like he was there for everything. But that's a really good point too.
Yeah,
I agree with that. T-Wade, I didn't read up on it before watching. Every episode was a surprise, and it was because they were able to just continue to say, "Okay, remember this. However, here's a new twist on it, and here's where we can go with it." Now, if you're gonna keep, making these guesses, you're gonna probably be wrong. But
I was wrong a lot.
Yeah, by episode 4, I was like, okay, I'm just watch.
I was blaming everybody. I was like, oh, Pace definitely did that. I was like, oh yeah, Agent Robinson did that. They were sleeping together. Oh no, somebody. And then when the daughter had the thing, I was like, oh, I was blaming everybody.
Everybody was guilty. Okay,
everybody was guilty. Mephisto was guilty.
Right. And it was very, it's from the same writers, producers from This Is Us. It was very This Is Us coded with the way in which the story. Yeah.
Okay.
It was very similar in which the way that they did like the flashbacks. That was a huge thing in This Is Us. They sort of incorporated that same. Oh, commercial break. Get your Ensure, everyone. As you can see, RJ is holding up his Ensure. What flavor is that?
Not a sponsor.
Milk chocolate.
Not a sponsor.
This is not a non-sponsored milk chocolate. I just love it.
Like, until y'all ready to come to the table and give my boy a contract. Not a sponsor.
Your brand deal.
We're gonna work on that though.
We're gonna work on a brand deal.
Right. But yeah, very This Is Us coded with the way they did the flashback scenes. I'm not a fan of flashback scenes, but I will say that shows like This Is Us and Paradise, I like the way they do the flashback scenes because it adds a lot of context to it. Most flashback scenes to me, it just kind of takes me out of what's happening, currently within the story. This didn't do that for me. So it was really
That's a really good point, because I too am the kind of person that I hate time jumps and I hate flashbacks. Partly because my brain can't. This is just me talking. I can't handle it mentally. I never know where I'm at, and so I'll watch the scene and I'll be like, "Well, didn't they just get shot in the head?" And then like it'll dawn on me like 3 minutes after I watch the flashback that it was a flashback, or I'm like, "When did she get bangs?" And it's like I don't realize it until like after the flashback is over. And so I'm telling, like, the bangs that always confuses me. So now, but with Paradise, I feel like I don't know if it's the way they did the lighting or the way they dressed the characters, or maybe it was the set design. I could always tell that it was a flashback, so this one didn't really lose me. And I think that flashbacks should also either help build a character or further the story in the future. And I think that they did an amazing job with these flashbacks. Overall, like the show is done excellently.
Oh yeah.
So here's a question I have for you though, and this is coming from my own personal thoughts about it. Do you prefer flashbacks or dry exposition?
Flashbacks. I hate exposition.
There we go. That's exactly what I was about to say. Because Desiree, what do you think? What do you think?
A little bit of both, I guess.
Okay. So the reason why I was 100% fine with the flashbacks, because I knew they were replacing the exposition. That way they didn't have to like spoon feed you this narrative. Like, yes, he's looking for his wife. Yes, the kids are with him, but instead of having to go through this long drawn out piece to show you their relationship, to show you even how everything was playing out right after the Cal got killed.
Yeah.
They, instead of trying to tell you all that, they start showing you, and then they give it to you bit by bit each episode. And it was like almost as if the story was catching up to itself, because I ain't even gonna lie, there was no way on the planet anybody can make you believe that what happened in the finale was gonna happen the way it played out.
Definitely, yeah.
Like, that was a story you had no clue about, except obviously we know that the silo or the Paradise was built. We know that.
Silo. Yeah. That's what I was trying to say earlier. I was going to say clickbait and silo. That's what the show reminds me of, a combination of clickbait and silo. But to your point, I prefer that they don't do the exposition, because I really hate when they'll say that they'll do this rather than showing two characters are madly in love. They'll say, we've been together since 3rd grade. Like, just show us. Like, we don't need you to tell us how long you've been together, or like you and the president have been through so much to like just show me.
Yeah, it's corny that way when they do that. I can't stand that. Like, oh yay, let's state the obvious in such a corny fashion. It's like,
But you know what? Another testament to how slow I be. Like, I read the premise, but it didn't register with me. So let me tell you how I'm slow, right? So the whole time I didn't know they were in a mountain, like until like the end. And I was like, wait a minute, wait, what? So I had to go back and like, wait, were they in the mountain the whole time?
bro.
Oh my
what?
God.
Okay, sir.
Yo.
Like
What?
the
We
whole
set this
show,
whole live, bro.
the whole show got like a brand new like point of view when I realized that they were actually in like a doomsday bunker mountain thing. And I was like, wait a minute, it's all
Right.
fake. And then my mind started flashing back like I was in the show when they were doing the fake ducks
Yeah.
and she was talking about the bugs in the recording. I'm like, oh, this is
So episode 1. That's what I was literally just telling Desiree. Episode 1, I was like, I wasn't even like surprised or locked in because even what they show. Because remember they said what did they say? Sunset will be delayed 2 hours for maintenance, and I was like, what?
Like,
I didn't dawn.
What? And so because when he took the jog and he came back, and I said, wait, sunlight will be delayed. And then that's when he looked up and you could see the line.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, well, hey, okay, these clowns are in a dang in a dome.
I was like,
Okay.
is this a WandaVision? Like,
yikes. Oh
That's
man.
Oh man, I did not catch that until like maybe like episode 6. And I was like, wait. Yeah.
The point of view of the workers as well, you know, building that world, I really like that.
Mhm.
I really like that. It goes to show you that although Sterling K. Brown, you know, as an actor and even his character Xavier Collins carried much of the show, a lot of the other actors did some heavy lifting as well.
Yeah. Agreed.
We didn't necessarily always need him, and that's what I liked about it, that balance of storytelling. Someone else can also, you know, take on the mantle telling the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really difficult thing to do too.
Yeah.
Normally the main actor is your flagship actor for the show. But I feel like everyone else was written so well and the story was written so, you know, in depth that it didn't matter who was on the screen. Like normally, you know, I don't care about the kid plots, like whatever, next. But I genuinely care about what happened with those kids. And kudos, like great actors, by the way. Normally kids suck, but they were great.
Yeah. I think they let them balance having a dad, not having their mom around, and kind of like still trying to have that nuclear family feel, because she was a really good surrogate as the mom, you know, to her brother, and like, hey, keep me reminding dad, hey, did you forget this or that? And so they were able to kind of stay on the same page like that. Plus, then they had that little extra, you know, support system out there and stuff, man, because I'm not even gonna lie. I was pretty thrown off at how passive, you know, I was thrown off by how passive he was with his wife. And I get it that she had an important job and he wanted her to feel like her job was important. But I felt like I you know, I get he was kind of trying to stick to the letter of the law. But why would y'all wait until y'all assume she's dead to give him real information? Like, that was a little weird the way they did that, you know.
And you know, at first I was feeling like, you know, he was kind of hard on the president, like, oh, it wasn't his fault. But you knew for a shadow,
you knew
what was coming. So I feel like, and he was right, because he was like, "What do you mean you told me? You dropped subtle hints. You never outright said." Like, I feel like as much time as they spent together, he could have pulled that man aside and said, "Listen, I can't tell you exactly what's about to go down, but whatever your wife got going on is not going to matter in however many days or weeks or whatever. So she doesn't need to get on that plane." I felt like he really could have warned him, and he didn't.
Yeah, like you failed an open note test. It was an open book test. And you hardly even stopped her from going, too, is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, he just pulled the whole, well, my wife hasn't listened to me in 20 years. I don't care. That really got to me. I'm like, you didn't do it. Sorry.
So that, I think part of it though is why I kind of low-key had a hard time being sympathetic to Cal, because I felt like he was still basically being forced to be in the position he was in. His dad was still running stuff, because I ain't even gonna lie, I was like, bruh, as soon as hand scan didn't work on there. I said, I bet his dad still got access. As soon as I saw it, I said, I guarantee his dad still got access. Only issue was that the dad had basically early dementia coming.
Yeah.
So he was in and out because he basically punked him. You know, like, you ain't gonna do nothing. You're gonna get in this White House like I planned, and you're gonna do exactly, you know. So I had a hard time even when he was trying to redeem himself, and I think part of it was guilt, you know, with him trying to go and plant those seeds and stuff like that. I was not completely. I always found myself being stuck on the fact that he was just gonna drink and have fun and kick it, you know, have his little side piece, which I did not understand that at all.
That was another thing too. I was like, how is that going?
Yeah. Well, so that wasn't just me. Y'all thought that was like what?
That was weird.
It was. Xavier's little fling was weird too. I'm like,
well, but I think that was
story.
So I saw that as a little bit of a different thing because I felt like the doctor was a little bit. She was trying to kind of go from another angle, you know. I can't say I agree with it, but I think that she was just trying to go at another angle because I'm gonna lie, Sinatra played everybody really well, you know.
Yeah.
Because she I mean, when they finally showed her like backstory or what was going on and how she got to where she was, I was I understood, but I think there were still some underlying kind of motifs that kind of are co-mingled with her character, you know, because a lot of it had to do with power. Majority of it didn't really have to do with just survival. It was more power because you have your power players, and you know, basically it was like, hey, boom, you next up, we do this, you get here, and so she was just moving the chess pieces around.
Her character was the most complex to me, and that's what I liked about it. I think, I agree. Really layered.
Yeah.
She was not one note whatsoever. Not to say that the other characters were, but I feel like she had a bit more of a responsibility as the antagonist in the show, and she killed it.
Yeah. I like I wish I had my notes, but when they kept going on and on about them damn cheese fries, that's when I knew that there had to be some kind of special link to like, because they mentioned them too. She was bragging about these damn cheese fries, and so in the end, when we got to the thing, and what was the waitress at the diner? What was she, a waitress?
Yeah.
And when we found out that the cheese fries were like almonds or cashews or something like that, and she had like a nut allergy, like I don't know, I just like the little subtle storytelling that they do. But I said that basically to say, like, how you mentioned that she's not one note. There's not anything in this show that feels one note. And I think that's what I like about everything in this show. It's everybody's layered, every story's layered, every event is layered. So like, I don't know. It's so rare that you find a show that you genuinely want to watch. Like when I got to the last episode, I was sad when the credits hit. I was like, damn.
I know.
Really it?
See, you know, episode 7 was a standout for me, though. That was when it really kicked into gear, and it felt like a natural disaster sort of film. Like the pacing, everything just kind of, you know, I was like,
because they hit you with everything. They finally tell you what that thing was, why they're there, and how they miscalculated, and how they, you know, so the things that you're trying to figure out, like. The whole thing with the kill switch was ridiculous because I probably watched the episode 3 separate times and I was like, what? So I don't understand. And that was the one time when I finally felt like Cal actually figured out what his purpose was supposed to be.
Right.
Because I had no clue what that opening scene meant until they kind of explained that he had that kill switch and it could stop everything because, you know, we're America. We like to do our own thing. And then, you know, you let everybody else figure it out, but then you get almost like low-key get mad. So we're going to have the fail-safe for ourselves and really bump everybody else, you know.
Exactly. I like how she had the power to dangle the carrot, but then, you know, in the end, without giving away too much, you know, karma. And that's all I'm going to leave it. at right now.
Well,
But
I mean, heck,
I love how that
we're a
worked out.
couple weeks off the season finale. So I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie though. I was pretty shocked. What was his boy's name that he came in there talking that cash junk?
Oh,
And basically his girl was the one that sent him home.
Pace.
He
Yeah.
walked in there and she because I knew something was up too. Because she was sitting in that seat like, okay, so basically we're gonna have to send somebody for you. He was like, they better be pretty big if you send somebody.
That's what I knew. Yeah. I said his girl is a sleeper agent or whatever.
I didn't guess that piece, but as soon as that hand started trembling, I said, oh, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Something was off about her too.
She's Looney Tunes.
I almost feel like, I don't know, is she real? I don't know. It's weird.
Well, I mean,
she's a weirdo. She crashed out over a Nintendo Wii. Like,
well, she kind of reminds me of like an AI. Like, is she a human? Is she AI? Like, I don't know.
A robot?
Which would be interesting if she was, but just something about her.
I'm trying to think of a character she reminds me of. Like, she reminds me like a mix of like Sarah and Elgin from. Like, they're not all there.
I could see.
So T-Wade said. So T-Wade says that was predictable. I mean, I don't know. I guess I struggled.
But I knew it.
I knew something was coming. I just didn't necessarily expect that. Because I feel like you could have still had use for his character. Now, getting rid of him, it didn't really change too much because they were able to just kind of move forward with the story. But I feel like there could have been a little bit more tension, and that's just maybe my own personal thought about it. But with him dying out, it wasn't like I was like, "Oh, the show's over." You know, I didn't get that at all.
But I think they needed to kill somebody that was important, but not like the main character, obviously. And I think he was the death that kind of set things off. Because remember, at first he was a suspect. He was told which was planted information that he killed the president, blah, 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 blah. And then I think, things kind of turned around. And so I feel like he probably had to die because he was the next closest person to him. And that was kind of the catalyst for, okay, so if he didn't do it, like there's something bigger afoot here. So I feel like his death kind of raised the stakes.
They got me with that one because I didn't think that she kind of played, she didn't play too smart, So you wouldn't think that they would rely on someone like her, but she proved us wrong. Complete personality change. That was brilliant. Loved it.
Right. And not me trying to think I'm gonna one up what T-Wade said. I honestly felt like the weed thing was gonna come back into play some kind of way. I didn't know how. I didn't honestly. Because it felt like a throwaway line at the time. Yeah. But it was like, hey, bro, like basically, like I get bored sometimes, and I just want to have a release, or outlet, or whatever. So made it even more hilarious when she was in there playing probably tennis at the end, and I'm sitting there like, got a damn Wii.
The fact that the Wii was such a big deal to an adult woman who had an important job, that's something that I'm like, something, you nobody just, overreacts like that or just goes to that extent because you didn't let me play with the Wii.
I think she said that as I'm gonna be honest.
She meant that shit with her chest. So she meant that with her chest about the Nintendo Wii.
She did to that woman like that, like over the Wii.
Well, first off, she had one job and she decided to let the girl go.
Yeah.
And then she came in and was like, basically like, all right, we're going to go ahead and take care of this. Oh, by the way, this wouldn't have happened if you just gave me my Wii. So
I like stuff like that because
I agree. That was pretty ridiculous. I agree.
Yeah. Which is crazy. Because no rational adult would, I don't know. Something ain't right.
She's not all there. She's not. Yeah. She's not. Anybody who could pretend to fall in love with somebody and then like kill them, like it's just you're not all there. She reminds me of is it creepy thing guy from Charlie's Angels?
I
guess
the guy with the black hair.
Yeah,
The
kept
real
smoking
Key
them
and Peele
cigarettes.
guy. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your mom's man. I feel like she's a killer. I feel like she's gonna be a
Yeah,
problem.
he was actually a big character on Back to the Future.
Yeah, she's given, what's her name, Villanova in that show, the crazy serial killer. I don't know. Eve, what is it? Something Eve. That show. She kind of
Oh,
reminds.
Oh, Killing Eve.
Yes, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, her crazy self, the accents and the different personalities.
So do y'all see the political pieces like being, more or less important than other things that are going on? Or because I mean, obviously the political maneuvering is more in the room where it happens, if you will,
Yeah.
versus like everybody that's there just trying to live their existence, they little party bands and just kind of kicking it,
Yeah.
because
I think the politics are always important because that determines who lives and who dies. That determines, who has a happy life and who doesn't. There's a hierarchy to everything, as you can
right.
see in that episode where they allowed these men to build, the mountain,
Knowing it was gonna kill them.
knowing it was going to kill them,
Yeah.
and that's just some political elitist type
Which
ish.
which I'm gonna tell you, the way they framed dude, because remember, he is the one who shot Xavier at
Yep.
first when he first tried to kill Cal.
Yep.
So it all came full circle, and Cal had no clue what was happening when he saw. Because I mean, obviously, he looked way different.
Yeah.
And Xavier didn't even have a clue because he had to tell them.
Yeah.
So I ain't gonna lie. The way that even unfolded was like, as soon as I saw him, I was like, "There's no way, this is the dude. You got to be joking."
Yep.
But I'm gonna tell you, the most cathartic feeling I got was putting myself in his shoes. And when he hit Cal, he killed him with one of the tools that the workers were using
to
build that mine. Because they had, you remember they had that glass case with the hard hats. That was one of the things from the build to like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he hit him
they
with
did
that
say
thing.
it was an irregularly shaped object that killed him.
Yeah, and it was that weird. It looked like a tip to a drill, or something, where they were digging into the mountain. And so when I saw that, I was like, man, like I felt this weird release. Like, dang, I'm sure adrenaline was going and everything, but he already killed at least 2 people. Yeah. So it wasn't like he was a stranger to killing nobody.
Yeah.
But when he did that, and it made it even worse, he didn't even kill him on the first go. He got him a second time.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh.
But to be honest, the president was stupid for that. Like, you always play dead. Like, what are you getting up crawling
he was
for?
Drunk.
Like,
he was
what
drunk.
was you fighting? Just lay down.
Well, he was drunk though. His blood was thin. He was losing blood fast. He wasn't thinking like that.
He obviously wasn't, man. Because you hit me one time. I don't care if it don't hurt. I'm playing dead. Like,
well, remember he tried to tussle with him, and then he got cracked real good. And then I think that was honestly, I think he was done for anyway.
Yeah.
Because ain't no telling how many drinks he had prior to dude even coming in there.
Yeah. He was thinking.
Oh, message on the cigarettes.
Yeah. And then just, within this story, the overall chemistry of these, between the I feel like this cast is like top tier. Just like not all of them are well known, but everybody came in and really showed off their talent. Man, I can't wait until the second season.
There wasn't a single bad performance. Like, normally there's like 1 or 2 people who was like, "What? Yeah. Like, somebody? You somebody cousin, ain't you? Like, that's how you got on.
You knew somebody.
You knew somebody. But like, I didn't see any performance or any one line that was delivered where I'm like, like, how'd you get on the show? Everybody like did good.
Exactly. And what I love the most about this too is that, like, you have the president, you have, the head of Secret Service, who's also the grandson of a Tuskegee Airman. They come together in this world where they basically are getting a second chance to start again, in this new world. And like, It's funny because for me, the message is that no matter what, even if you're in this new world, you can start all over again. The powerful will still oppress and suppress.
Mhm.
Like they will still suppress and
Every
But
oppress.
time.
so a prime example is whenever she was basically like, "Y'all don't have guns.
Oh
I know where
yeah,
the guns are."
yeah,
Because basically, it was like, I mean, I could just bash your head in right
yeah.
now. We good. She was
Yeah.
like, "Nah, bro. I still got access to
That was a
guns."
good point. Like she was like, "You really think that they would build this place and leave the powerful people defenses? Like, no, there's guns."
Right.
That
So
was a
so
good one.
and if you really think about it, she has so many integral conversations with
Hmm.
different characters that honestly, I mean, had Sturt or Xavier not been like in a ton of episodes, like they literally 1A, 1B when it comes to starring role because
Mhm.
of how integral her character really is to the plot. Now, I don't know how big or how things are going to change with him going, you know, topside season 2, because from my understanding, and this is me just making pure guesses now, he's gonna, season basically the showrunner said 3 seasons.
Hmm.
And it's
3.
gonna feel like
Oh,
3 different shows, the way they're breaking it down, because now he's gonna go outside and try to figure out some stuff, and then and then season 3 is supposed to be something different. So I'm not thinking anthology more than they're just gonna change scenery, and obviously you're gonna meet more characters.
yeah, there's gonna be like a bunch of different plots going on.
Yeah.
That normally happens with like apocalyptic shows when someone has to stay behind while somebody else goes to search for resources or something like that. And so we'll probably get the drama on the inside, which is the fallout from season 1, and then a whole new host of problems that he's gonna run into on the outside.
Or whoever's gonna be vying for power now that
Yeah.
Sinatra's down,
You know what this reminds me of? I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you know it's my show. Avatar: The Last Airbender. This all reminds me of book 2 with the propaganda
Hmm.
and the assassination and the trying to just trying to seize power and stuff like that. So it really does remind me of like book 2. Like it's bottled. It's takes place in one spot.
Hmm.
Um, Everything reminds me of Avatar for this show book as far as book 2. Well written show. I really enjoyed Paradise.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
Who's your
I don't
favorite
know.
character?
Ooh, I'm going to say Sinatra.
Yeah, I was
Mm.
about to say
Enjoyed
probably unpopular opinion because of just
it.
optics, but I would definitely say her character. And again, it's that 1A, 1B thing, because I feel like she was playing chess in 3D versus everybody else just playing normal
Yeah,
2D.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because she had all of the answers.
She's
Yeah.
an excellent villain.
Being the architect of where they were, and also being able to pull the strings and twist the arms of
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
as things were even progressing. And so everything that she would do, it was almost as if she could see what's going to happen, but she got to play victim if she wanted to,
Mm.
just to make somebody let their guard down.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's how that's how I feel about her character.
Yeah, I feel like she was probably one of the better villains of 2020. I was about to say 2024 of 2025. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, you can be a villain just being just for the sake of being a jerk.
Okay. I have to agree.
Oh God.
I have to rewind that.
Uh,
Wait, what?
Like Sterling K, is that you?
stunt double.
Mm-mm.
No, he does work out though. I give him that. He works out.
Right.
Look. Oof. All right.
Hey, Desiree, really? Good Lord.
You okay? You all right, Des? Cool off.
Like I would like to change my answer.
I'm just gonna drink, okay?
Let me send you an inshore.
No thanks.
Yeah, I like his wife too. I really enjoyed the school scene where she was kind of going off on them
Yeah.
about the project or whatever. But they were the parents were 100% in the right. Xavier and his wife and Dr. Terry, they were 100% in the right
Yeah.
about the
I
privilege of the
definitely agree.
project. So yeah, but yeah,
I mean, they had to keep those. You still got to keep the idea of how that world is no different than being, outside of the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different. And that was the part that kind of it was obvious that that's what they were doing, because you still had that separation, and all the folks at the table, and hey, we just gonna do it this way. We don't need a bunch of ideas. This is how we're gonna do it.
yeah.
And then that way, I can still stay in my spot and play, the ringmaster, and let everybody else kind of, do what they're gonna do. But I'll be honest, I'm not even gonna lie. The way dude got back in that, the way dude ended up getting in that bunker was genius in itself.
Yeah.
Because it was neat the way that, it was the way it was thrown out there, where Sinatra was like, well, it's somebody that's not from that wasn't supposed to be here, basically.
Yeah.
It's an outsider. And I mean, yes and no, because he was hiding in plain sight the whole time.
Right.
But even how he got in there, because he had taken the bracelet, he was just holding it, and then he just starts faking like he's about to have a panic attack.
That was hard.
And they was like, man, just go, just go.
Go.
Like, man, I'm gonna try that in real life if anything ever, happens. Anything like that ever happens.
Well, I can tell you the prime example. I just won't say it out loud. I'll tell you when we backstage. I can give you the exact way to do it.
Okay. Give me some acting lessons.
Okay, I will say that's fair.
Okay,
that's fair.
But here's where I would argue that you got to remember there's chaos going on when that's happening. Because think about it, even when Xavier and the kids were going, and he was still trying to wait and see if he was going to hear from his wife, they were trying to get people to go, and they were trying to push people through. So I feel like you're gonna every so often you're gonna get somebody slip through the cracks on something, just based on just a little bit of chaos. Now, is it far-fetched? Sure. But they weren't doing it. Ain't like you trying to get a Social Security card now. You got to sit somewhere for 5 hours and wait.
Yeah.
They were trying to move people along. So
and he already had insider information to it being built and where it was at.
Right.
So it wasn't like, it was like you said, it's far-fetched, but I don't think it's like impossible for someone to do, especially during a chaotic event like that. Now, it's one thing if they were preloading the bunker before the emergency, like, hey, we know this is coming next week, so y'all got, a week to get here. And then he just kind of did that, got in during
if he having a medical emergency, they're not going to hold up everybody to stop to make sure he's all right, or to check him out to see who he is.
During a cataclysmic event.
Right.
He just had a bum ticket. He had a ticket, but it was a bum one. Yeah.
Right.
It didn't scan. Whatever.
Now I did think it was kind of funny that he did kind of resemble the dude a little bit, but the lady didn't look nothing like old girl.
No. Yeah, I was like, what?
But that was kind of how they were able to kind of slide through, because she was like, I got him, and I was like, okay. Didn't agree or disagree, but
another thing that kind of went over my head too, like, and I guess because like I said, I wasn't expecting the librarian.
Do you learn how to breathe? That's hilarious.
I mean, that probably would have been a better thing to step aside rather than just go, because now the president is dead. So
who knows if that lady was still getting paid for that job anyway? She
probably sent her home after. She probably didn't get no ticket into the bunker.
She
probably said, "Thank you for your service."
Like, I'm sorry, but everybody can't go. You just finished.
Here's the deal.
They probably said, "We'll pay you $50,000 to take these tickets." He said, "Oh, great!" Walked out, got hit by a tsunami.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. And then to think what the outside world is going to look like,
that's
in season 2. That's what I really want to see what it looks like.
I mean, well, we got a little preview of it, not a lot, but like we know that there's life.
Right.
Yeah. But like,
because they miscalculated and everything didn't go as bad as they thought, it was going to go. So the fact that they were able to kind of establish that piece lets you know. I would be kind of weirded out if it's just completely apocalyptic, but I would probably be thrown off a little bit. Like, come on,
I feel like it needs to be like
because
season one.
it's only been 3 years. So
it's been a couple years. Yeah. So it's not like going to be like The Last of Us where everything is like in ruins, but everything shouldn't be intact though, because if you had 300-foot tsunamis on top of 20-story buildings, then nothing should be standing. But I don't think there should be resident neighborhoods still intact. I think that everything should be wiped out.
Yeah, it's a matter of
I'm
like
gonna have to research some of that and see what that would look like.
Yeah.
Because 3 years, like it'd be different if they had already been down there for, at least in my brain. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, so I'm just guessing, obviously. But if somebody told me, oh well, it's been 8 years, 10 years, that's way different than 3, because they established that they can still breathe out there. So
yeah,
that's where I'm a little bit. I'll be weirded out if it's completely just. I mean, yeah, sure, but you're gonna have some structures that can withstand something if it wasn't all direct hit like they had originally.
I don't know, man. 300-foot tsunami, everything.
but it didn't all hit directly like they thought it was. So
yeah, but it did knock that one lady off that damn roof. I know she's going.
Yeah.
That my heart did sink on that part though. Like I thought I knew it was bad, but I didn't think it was going to be like that bad.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. I'm interested to see kind of how much season 2 will differ, and I just hope that they don't just keep us on the hook for such a long time waiting.
Yeah,
because 2026 would be devastating if that's what they end up saying, because they didn't say yet.
Well, I can do early 2026. I don't come here in November talking about season 2 of don't do that. Like, I feel like give me like a good January, February 2026, but I don't.
Well, not late though.
Yeah, not late. I don't want no November, December premiere of Paradise. Like, don't do that.
Well, because if that's the case, if they decide to, I hope they don't. But if they decide to do something weird like that, just shoot both of them. And just have them ready, like, because it will make no sense. Because I think you're gonna, if you can't, if people are gonna be trying to compare a season 2/season 3 to season 1, and you don't deliver, it's gonna be bad. Yeah. So and I think if they're gonna do like a whole nother type of story, I think we'll be okay though. Because I think it's definitely going to have a different feel because of how they're doing it.
You know what? It's going to be like American Horror Story Apocalypse. There's a story inside the bunker and a story outside the bunker. That's
okay.
That's what's going to happen.
Well, they did that similar to they did that on when they did that one of the many spinoffs they did on Walking Dead, where they chronicled like each character, like doing some random one-off situation each episode. Yeah, I thought that was neat. Like when they showed up like to that one bunker and the dude like let a little girl in. Stuff like that. So I could see them maybe doing something where he's gonna obviously be meeting new characters as he gets out there. So people gonna be begging him to take him back. He'll be like, "No, we ain't going back. I'm going east."
Right. So before we get out of here, scale of 1 to 10, Paradise, what do you give it?
9 out of 10 for me.
Okay. I'd go strong 8.5, 8.5.
I'm with Des. I give it a strong 9. I enjoyed it way too much. And maybe it's because it's the first sci-fi show that I'm like super duper hype, non-sci-fi show that I'm super duper hype about. But yeah, I give it a strong 9. But yeah, that was our thoughts. Those are our thoughts on Paradise. Sorry, I didn't know the intro. Those are our thoughts on Paradise, which is now streaming on Hulu. Don't forget to like the live. Don't forget to share with your friends. Invite some people back. We are going to start doing giveaways where we're doing AMC, Regal gift cards, Amazon gift cards, things like that.
Popcorn buckets.
popcorn buckets, merch, things like that. So feel free to, tell your friends to come on. We're going to be doing some, games and little treasure hunts where you can win prizes, so tune in and tell your friends.
If
That
you
being
guys have
said,
questions,
oh yeah,
y'all can always shoot questions to us.
yes.
Um,
Our links are down below in the thing. So shoot questions to us. We're going to have an email for you guys to send stuff to as well when you guys want to have your comments and stuff on the show, or if you have a particular question about a show, we'll be more than
I
obliged.
want to do a specific show or movie or something that is near and dear to your heart. We might look at that too.
Yeah, we're taking requests. We're here. We just like to talk. We love movies. We love television. We're all about, film and media here at the Silverside Network. So tune in. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Later days.